Hey everyone, it's Natalie SUGAR Brown here, and we talking fight tonight. Now, tonight's topic is the face-off. As everyone knows, there was a notable fight that happened last weekend between Savannah Marshall and Femke Hermans. Yeah, that was the matchup. And that, I guess, was the cherry on top fight going into the mega match between Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall um, later on this summer. But before we get into the nitty gritty, okay, once again, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Natalie SUGAR Brown, and I am a former elite professional fighter. Um, if you know if they talk to me sweet, I might get back in the ring. I'm not sure, but I've been to the highest of the highs as a fighter, amateur and professional, and I've experienced enough to have a voice now, thankfully, on Talking Fight, the platform, where we can all get together on Wednesday nights at 7:30 to talk female or women's boxing. So we will have, there's a lot of things to talk about out here. And I want you guys to come to me here at 7:30 on Wednesdays to talk that talk and tell me what you'd like to talk about. So I'm not the only one hogging the conversation. But seeing as we got some stuff to unpack about this mega fight, let's get into it. Okay, so on I believe it was Saturday night, Savannah Marshall took on Femke Hermans in a bout that ended quite early. It ended in the second round, I think, where Savannah Marshall stopped Femke Herman in this fight. Now, the reason why this fight is a notable fight, number one, Femke Herman uh, also fought Clarissa Shields, which is Clarissa Shields is the queen of the weight class right now. And Savannah Marshall is trying to step up to the queen's throne and take that crown. And Savannah Marshall has a belt, but Clarissa has all except that belt. And it would be nice for Clarissa to have all the belts by defeating Savannah Marshall, or in an underdog turn, or I don't even think people think she's an underdog, but in a twist, it would be good if Savannah Marshall were to win all of those belts to add to her that one belt prize. Okay, so let's unpack this fighter, Savannah Marshall. Okay, so Savannah Marshall's claim to fame is she actually defeated Clarissa Shields, the two-time gold medalist, in the amateur rankings. And as I've explained before, amateurs is totally different from the pros. Um, the amateurs have many rules, and as I've said before, all the dots have to line up, and all the everything has to come together to make a picture for the judges to score whether the fighter wins or doesn't win. And this is the amateurs. In the pros, you get to fight it out. So not many of the rules of amateur applies, meaning, they're not stopping the scrap, stop every second, and they're not telling you hold your head up, and they're not intervening. They're letting the ladies go at it, and may the best fighter, or may the best scrapper or fight win in that sense as a pro. So yeah, the claim to fame is she Savannah Marshall beat Clarissa Shields in the amateurs, but and is or was the only fighter to ever have beaten Clarissa Shields in the amateurs. So without getting a prize for that, she's known as the one who beat the undefeated Clarissa Shields. Now, the anticipation here is in the pros, Savannah Marshall has climbed the rankings to become one of the most notable contenders to step to Clarissa, and uh, challenged her to a mega fight, putting the belts on the line. Okay. So at this point, both fighters are 12 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Savannah Marshall's record is 12 wins, 10 KOs. So she's knocked out 10 of her opponents. Um, and we'll go into what that what that means and what that looks like if you guys haven't been tuning into background noise. It gets a bit spirited around here. But um we're going to go into what those KOs meant, Savannah Marshall's record. And just making note, Clarissa Shields is also uh, 12-0, 12 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, but she only has 2 KOs. Okay. Now let's unpack that comparison. Clarissa Shields turned pro, and right out the gate, Clarissa Shields started fighting top opposition. She actually turned pro fighting a high caliber amateur in Franchon Cruz. Now, uh, I'm going to mention Franchon Cruz because Franchon Cruz can be and is, I think she should be a contender in this weight class to volley for, you know, um, uh, you know, top that top seat in the middleweight division. But she hasn't. She's actually bowed out of the competition, and I'm not sure why. But Franchon and your people, I think you need to get back down here. You have a spot. Um, Now, I mentioned Franchon Cruz because after that, Clarissa had to fight top level opposition. So she didn't get a chance to fight tomato cans. She didn't get a chance to fight body bags. She came out and she had to get to work. Okay. And in doing that, the type of fighter Clarissa Shields is, eh, you 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 want an opportunity to get your feet wet, and you want an opportunity to feel yourself out in the ring as a pro. Um, but because she is was fighting such high level opposition, she had to find her comfort as each fight came to her. Now, we're going into Savannah Marshall. Okay, so Savannah Marshall's pro debut let's see. I'm gonna actually look her up while we're talking and see. Savannah Marshall, and see who she did her pro debut against. Okay, so her pro debut was against Sydney LeBlanc, um, who would seem to be a journeywoman. She had already had 8 fights, Sydney LeBlanc, and uh, it was a 4 rounder, and she won by unanimous decision against Sydney. But mind you, she was able to make that pro debut against someone who wasn't so accomplished, um, and she was able to find her way in that situation. The lights weren't bright and they weren't on, as you know, the anticipation of Clarissa Shields' pro debut was. So. Um, as each fighter progressed to their 12-0, Clarissa Shields continued to fight top opposition, right? So there were no tomato cans. There are no tomato cans in that 12-0. Okay? Check them off. Now, let's go into Savannah Marshall's 12-0. Savannah Marshall's 12-0 now. She was able to go through some seasoning. Okay, so her first maybe 5 or 6 fights, she was fighting journey women losers. Yeah, I said it. Journey women losers who her manager and promoter handpicked for her to get those TKOs or those KOs against. Yes. So now we have an example of a fighter who is built, right? They're building her. They're giving her the KOs. They're putting the people in front of her that she can look great against and be bad against. Um, Thanks for chiming in, Michael. Real talk, spit that truth. Well, my own my loyalty is to the truth because this game ain't no joke and it ain't a lie. Okay, boxing is something that you gonna find out who a person really is when they get in there and they feel either that breeze go past their nose or they feel that hit and they have to come back from it. Okay, so we're diving into Savannah Marshall's 12-0. Okay, she's fought some journey women. A notable journey woman is Borislava Goranova. I've mentioned her before because she is a popular one for padding people's record. Borislava Goranova has 11 wins, 67 losses. 8 of those losses are by KO. That's on Savannah Marshall's record. I see that as a blemish, actually, right? Because why? Why would you pick someone like that to grow against? Are you growing? You know what I'm saying? It's Is that going to be a real fight? Um, you find somebody who is more of a loser than a winner. 67 losses. She already knew what she signed up for. She knew she was going to sign up to lose. Okay, and I don't care if she stopped her or not. Um, I'm not sure if Savannah stopped her or not. More than likely, Savannah did stop her. But that that to me, that's a padding, and there's padding also on the more of the record. But We ain't gonna cut nobody down. She's in there and she's growing as a fighter, and we want to see where this padding or where this will get her in the real scope and the big picture of things. Okay, so now, like I said, 112-0. Clarissa Shields is 12-0. All high end opposition. Okay. And now Savannah Marshall's 12-0. Journey women. Okay. I think her last couple fights, she's fought some people who were live. Okay. But it's not relative. It's not all relative here. Now, we're going to go into this past fight that Savannah Marshall fought, which is against, once again, goodness, let me check my notes. You guys, Sugar ain't really too good on names, but, please bear with me. Femke Hermans. Okay, so Femke, I did an episode about, fights, styles make fights. So let's get into the style of Savannah Marshall. So Savannah Marshall's style is, she is a boxer. She's a long rangey boxer. And she uses her range and distance to generate power. She is not a power puncher as they try to paint her. Her stoppages were all from shots, the deterioration of a fighter, setting up into a shot that actually made them stop or hurt them enough to stop the fight. Power punchers now, and I'm going to toot my own horn. I'm going to say it. Power punchers got that dynamite out the gate. Okay? Power punchers will stop you with that one punch, right? I'm tooting my own horn because as a fighter, I was a power puncher. Okay? In the amateurs, I was a power puncher. So I stopped people even with the headgear on with one punch. I stopped my opposition with one punch, right? Question coming in from YouTube, Michael Orr. What are your thoughts on her ability to switch stance between orthodox and southpaw? All right. Now, we won't finish, Mike. I'm going to come back to that, right? But I got to address the fact that Savannah Marshall is being painted as a power puncher. She is not a power puncher. She has weight and leverage on her shots. Yes. But we're going to establish that fact. Okay. Now, addressing Mike's question. What do I think about her switching southpaw and orthodox? I think she needs to pick a side. I think that shit is just garnish on the plate. I want to see what the main dish is. I want to see you set some stuff up. I want to see what you do with that switching, right? You doing the old soft shoe and switching up in front of a dead woman or a woman that is not giving you a problem. That's not entertaining to me. It may be something to people that do not understand what style and finesse and ring generalship means, right? Because switching stances is a part of generalship, right? You switch stance because you want to give the person or the opposition in front of you different looks, different approaches of how you're going to attack them, right? So if you're just doing this without somebody, like, you got a book of answers, but you don't even, the problem hasn't even presented itself, but you throw in answers out there. What kind of sense does that make? Right? So she's switching stances in front of an opponent that hasn't even proposed a problem to her. Femke or any of these journey women opposition who she's switching up in front of. Let's see if she switches up like that in front of Clarissa. Let's see if she would switch up like that in front of Franchon Cruz. Let's see if she would switch up like that against Christina Hammer. These are all high-end opposition. These are all women, high-end women, who the champ Clarissa Shields has faced. We're not going to give Marshall credit for bull jiving out there. Okay? She looks good against who's in front of her, but check the record, right? She hasn't had any impressive opposition in front of her. So that is my thoughts on her switching. I also she's a great boxer. I see her do some good things, and we're going to touch on that stuff, right? We're going to touch on those things that Savannah Marshall does. So I made note. She's a long, rangy fighter. Her power comes from her range, okay, and the distance. So her power comes from the leverage of her shots from long range, okay, and she has weight behind those shots, okay. But let's take note of this. If you saw the fight between her and Femke over the weekend, and you'll see her fight other fighters. I'm going to bring up Hannah Rankin because Clarissa Shields also fought Hannah Rankin, okay? And pay attention now to Savannah Marshall. She's good fighting a fighter out in deep water. But if that fighter gets past Hannah's reach or range, she's not effective on the inside. She does not know how to dig. She does not know how to fight on the inside. So what she'll do is she'll clench and she'll lean on you. Okay? And she knows how to use her weight now. Thanks to Peter Fury, because Tyson Fury, he's very good. Tyson Fury is very good at using his weight to wear down his opponents. I was actually Tyson Fury actually came and trained for a couple weeks out of my gym in Canada. He had some of his camp there, and I was a part of it. And Tyson Fury, excellent boxer. That man's a nerd in the ring. Okay, he knows his stuff. His dad is quite good too. His dad doesn't have the formal education of fighting, but his dad knows enough to have developed a championship level style in what you see there with Tyson Fury, right? Tyson Fury is a tall heavyweight. He's tall for a heavyweight, right? So he's taller than Lennox. And Lennox was a tall, big guy, one of the biggest champions out there. And Tyson Fury is taller than him. And Tyson Fury is a fighter that he moves for a big man, and he boxes. So that's what's impressive about Tyson's style, and that's what Peter Fury is bringing to Savannah Marshall now, because he trains her now in her game, and I see her using a lot of those skills in her fight against Femke. I want to say this. In that fight versus Femke, Femke got knocked out, or I don't think it wasn't a knockout, right? But she did get a blow that dropped her, and she got up and she wasn't able to continue the fight, according to what the ref says. Okay, if it was men's boxing, I think she beat the count. So she would have at least been able to stand in there another round to see what was going on. But this is female fighting. This is women's boxing, and this was in Savannah Marshall's hometown. So they want to stop the fight. Okay. So let's see what led up to that stoppage. Okay. So um the strategy is what beat Femke in this fight. It wasn't the devastating power of Savannah Marshall. No. Femke is a warrior within her own right. Um, they're people look at her as just an opponent, but styles make fights, and we want to break it down. Oh, Miss Scott, you've come back 7:30 on Wednesday to come see me. I just watched a short clip on the fight. That girl ain't scared of Clarissa. You said it. So Savannah Marshall isn't, and she ain't scared of Clarissa because she beat Clarissa, right? So that hocus pocus thing that everybody has now, fearing Clarissa Shields, she doesn't have it because she's the one that holds the golden token. She holds that golden token of defeat against Clarissa. She got Clarissa's number right now. Okay, so she gonna play it until Clarissa proves it different, right? Because in her mind, I beat you, and I'm gonna do it again, right? And that's what makes this fight mega, because Savannah Marshall beat a two-time gold medalist. The anticipation of what's going to happen in the pro ranks is, is grand. Like they sealed the deal for this money fight from the amateurs. It was just waiting. It was just waiting on the table for them to come pick it up in the pros. Good on you two, ladies. Okay, but let's get back to what beat how Savannah Marshall beat Femke. Okay, now, lovely assistant, do you have an image there that you can bring up? Bring up Savannah. So that's Savannah Marshall. Okay, that's her and her team there. I don't think Peter Fury is not in this picture. Okay, I don't think, but that's her in the middle, tall. You see she's long and lean. Let's go on to the next pick. Do you have another pick there for me, my lovely assistant? Okay, so that's Savannah Marshall delivering that a blow to Femke Hermans over the weekend. Okay, so you see Femke absorbed the shot there, and Femke is attempting to come back with something. It looks like she's attempting to come back with some kind of hook or something, something in retaliation to Savannah Marshall's attack. Okay, now this is what brought the demise of this fighter. Carl W. Hey, boo boo. Carl, you said from YouTube, Marshall KO Shields. Well, we're talking about it tonight because Miss Scott, is she southpaw? That's the question. No, none of these fighters are southpaw. Carl, we want to get back to you, okay? Because you may have a point, but I want you to consider a couple things, okay? With the prediction of Marshall KOing Shields, okay? So in the fight with Femke, Savannah applied pressure. to this fighter. Okay. Let Savannah is a boxer, and she applied the pressure to Femke with that long jab that she touches with. You know, she leaves it out there and she touches and she touches and she touches and she lines you up. Then she claps you with, that either a straight right, or she's good at that uppercut to the solar plex, to the gut, to the body. Okay, which that shot right there is going to take that gas needle closer and closer to E, right? Them body shots ain't no joke, okay? I love to use them, and I've been hit with a couple body shots too, make you, you know, adjust your rib cage, like, whoo boy, it takes that fight out of you, okay? Now, Savannah applying pressure as the round goes on, and Femke starts moving. And you can see that Femke is moving, but Femke is not moving to her own pace that she set. Femke is off her pace because she's trying to get away and get out of the range of Marshall's jab and Marshall's posting, because she doesn't want to get hit and lined up with that heavy shot that's going to come that after that jab, which is either the straight right or that uppercut. Okay, because Savannah ain't fighting Femke on the inside. She gonna keep Femke in the deep water. Okay, she gonna keep that girl out there. Now, as Femke's backpedaling, Femke, who is, I'm going to say it, a brawler, right? And we went over styles make fights. Femke is a brawler, okay? Femke ain't trying to box nobody. Femke ain't trying to fight nobody. Femke also switches stances. But Femke switches stances because she's a brawler, meaning she has no set way of fighting. She going to give you back what you give her. Okay, you swing a left to her, she going to take that shot, and she's going to take the intensity of that shot and translate it back into the same intensity that you gave her, right? And she going to swing back. She going to absorb and swing back, right? That's a brawler, okay? That she going to make that fight ugly. She is going to be nasty. Though those punches are not going to be straight on all the time, and they're not going to be, and you're not going to know where they're coming from. Brawler, okay? As Savannah Marshall applied the pressure, now it took Femke off of that momentum, because remember, Femke, the brawler style, the brawler generalship, uses momentum to fight. That means you punch them hard, they're going to come back, they're going to absorb it and come back hard, right? You punch them fast, they're going to absorb it, they're going to try to come back fast, okay? Now, the pressure, right? How you nullify that momentum is you make such a fighter step outside of the pace that they're used to. So now when you're fighting them, they're off of pace, right? So they're uncomfortable. And then now when you're shooting the shots to them, when you're hitting them, they're off of pace. So they're trying to keep up with you, number one. And number two, they don't have the momentum to come back with the same type of intensity you just dropped on them, because they're trying their best to keep up with you in the fight, keep up with the pace of the fight. That was excellent on Savannah Marshall's end, right? That strategy, that is entertaining. I love that. Okay. That's showing now that it's more than two women going at it in the ring. There's cunning, right? There's a thought process, there's intent now, which makes the fight attractive. Okay, so as Savannah is walking Femke down, Femke starts backpedaling in the fight. I want y'all to watch it, right? So a brawler stands there. Brawler, the easiest momentum to use is moving forward. So a brawler is naturally acclimated to move forward. With this approach and strategy, Savannah Marshall had Femke backpedaling. So when you make the brawler backpedal, they can't use momentum. They would have to be a good ass brawler, but Femke ain't on that level, right? To come back and attack from backpedaling. That's number one. Either that or the brawler would have to know how to fight moving backwards, which is something that very few fighters, very even more fewer women know how to do. Right? Hello, I'm raising my hand because Sugar did it all. I knew how to fight moving backwards. And if you catch some of my clips, I've even dropped some of my opposition moving backwards, right? That's an exhibition of punching power. When someone can drop another fighter moving backwards, they got that thunder. They got the dynamite. Okay? Now, as Femke is backpedaling, she's helping Savannah to stay or to keep her in deep water. Okay. And so she's drowning at this point because now she's trying to swing back from long range and hit Savannah Marshall. And then she's trying to keep up with the pace of the fight. And she's getting hit. And she's getting tired and hurt. Imagine how all of that feels at the same time. The brain starts telling you as a fighter, we should stop. Oh, that hurt. We getting tired. We should quit. We should quit. Right? That's how a fighter gets broken down in the ring. So I really admire the strategy of Savannah Marshall in breaking Femke down. Femke did have a couple sparks of hope in this fight, right? So Femke was able to get inside and clinch, but she wasn't able to do what she needed to do to throw the blows and and be effective on the inside of Savannah Marshall. And what did Savannah Marshall do? Just like Tyson Fury did to Wilder. I always forget his first name. Is it Anthony Wilder? Yeah. He leaned on him and made him tired. So Femke is clinching Savannah, and Savannah just leans all 150 something or 160 something pounds on her. And now she got to hold this weight while she's tired and hurt. It's not making for a good situation for Femke in this situation. All right, in this encounter. So the Savannah made the fight about pace, and the pace is what defeated Femke. After a while, you can't keep up. So when she delivered that blow, and I think it was a hook, I think it was a left hook, Femke was so exhausted that when she got hit with that shot, she couldn't absorb it and she went down. Okay. And in going down, of course, you're up, you're left to the referee's discretion, and the referee decided that she could no longer continue the fight. Stoppage. Okay. It was an exciting fight, all 2 rounds. I think it was 2 rounds. Yeah, 2 rounds. It was exciting. I enjoyed watching Savannah break Femke down. Um, I liked, besides the switching and all of that other stuff that, did just kind of, I guess that just added to the dead time. I liked to see the execution of the strategy. I think Savannah Marshall could have done more, and could have been more impressive in the stoppage. Sugar's a savage, right? So my fangs drop when I see opportunities to get someone out of there to destroy the opponent. And I saw where Savannah could have really hurt Femke and stopped her, period. Like, stopped her for the next opponent too, because Sugar had a Sugar has a reputation of ruining fighters. So fighters that I did beat, they actually never fought again because of how Sugar dealt with them. Um, so Michael comes back. It was in the third round, Sugar. Thank you, baby love. Mwah. So she stopped her in round 3. Okay, and that's early on into the fight. They go in 2 minutes. They go in 2-minute rounds. So she stopped her in round 3. Okay. Femke wasn't conditioned and she wasn't ready for this fight. Okay. And Savannah Marshall helped herself to a win. Now, like I said, it was an exciting fight because of how the how the strategy was executed. I think performance wise, I'm still not impressed by Savannah Marshall, because she could have. I mean, this is your time to shine, especially as a female fighter. You get in the ring on a big card, you're supposed to show the hell out, right? Not switch stances, but show the hell out. Show your versatility. Show that you can, show your shots, whether you can fight forward, backwards. Give me fakes. Set the person up. Show the world that you are in charge of this ass whooping. I didn't see that. But she did all right. Now, what I got from this, because I got to turn on the fighter light in me always, we all do it. I saw where Savannah got exposed a little bit in this fight. And I'm hoping Clarissa or anybody else that may fight Savannah will pay attention to this. So I noticed Savannah's not good uh, at middle distance fighting or close range fighting. She's only good fighting someone in deep water. So if you can use any variety of skill to get past the end of her range, you got something good going on against Savannah. Okay, Savannah's footwork, yeah, is not very good. Okay, she fights straight up and tall. Okay, so she doesn't have the balance that she should, with that height and trying to maintain that deep water range. She gives up some of her grounding because she's standing so tall. Okay, and she doesn't use that depth as effectively as she should, being a rangy fighter, right? So she doesn't she doesn't bring them in and she doesn't push them out. She's just basically at one range the whole time, right? She doesn't maximize, or she doesn't fight out of the range. She just uses it. If you guys can understand what I mean by just using the range instead of fighting with the range, right? So, take for instance, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would lean in and then let the opponent swing and lean out and then counter. Okay, that's fighting within range, within the depth perception of the opponent. I'm here, I'm not here, right? I'm here, I'm coming in. Stuff like that, right? And that's one aspect, okay? So in order to defeat Savannah, you must take away that jab, okay? You must take away that range finder in the jab, okay? Get rid of it. You get rid of that, she's ripe for the picking, because I don't see her using anything else. I don't see her using any other punches. I don't see her using any other footwork strategies. I mean, skills. I don't see her using even defense, that besides clinching and leaning, that would protect her from from attacks, um, or would protect her if she didn't have that jab. Okay, so if I was a fighter, I'd attack her jab. I'd punch her in the elbow. I'd break that elbow. Yeah, right. I'd make her not want to extend that shot. I'd punch her up under her arm. I'd make that thing drop, right? So she doesn't have it anymore, or when she does use it, it wouldn't be as often as she would. Okay. um but that's Sugar's approach. I'm sure it's the fighter in my audience, and you guys that show up tonight can think of many other ways, right? There's other ways, right? Um, Step on that lead foot. Yeah, it's out there. Trip that lead foot up, because she uses that. That's how she uses that to find her range, right? And her footwork's not very good. So trip up that lead foot, right? Attack that arm. Take it away, right? Can she fight off her rear? Let's see. That's fighting. That's the depth and understanding of boxing. Okay. Um, you have to constantly keep Savannah Marshall, this fighter, you have to keep her back to the ropes, right? Because with her back to the center of the ring, she determines the range. She determines how deep the water gets, right? With her back to the ropes, that shallow water, she has nowhere to go, right? So make her ride the ropes. All she can do is lean back against the ropes, or if you come in close range, she'll fall on you. And if you're the type of fighter that's going to do your homework now based on these, observation, or based off of what we've talked about tonight, you will learn how to inside fight and fight going backwards. Yeah, that's what's going to make this it entertaining against Savannah, and that's what's going to break this fighter down. There are many approaches to that. I'd love to see you guys drop some in. Okay. Fight her in the clinch, right? So we need a nasty brawler. We need a nasty fighter. Okay. We need a nasty banger to fight her in the clinch, because all she does is hold in the clinch. She's not fighting. She's not coming. She ain't spinning nobody around. She's not pushing or pulling. That's what the clinch is for. That's what the fight is, right? I don't see no girls, no women doing that. Style, style, style makes a fight. And that's style. People want to sit there talking about, oh, punches are clean, punches are crisp, punches are pretty. When have a fight ever been pretty? A fight is when we get ugly. A fight is when we let it all hang out. A fight is when we push, when we pull, right? When we swing you around to one end and swing you into a shot, right? See how I'm lighting up? Because some of us actually like that. Whether it's being done to you or not, we find comfort in the fight. Okay? Now, um, let's just see, let's just check off what Savannah Marshall, what her strengths are. Okay? And there's more. But I'm going to we're going to take out the main ones. Okay, so the three main ones are she's long, and a lot of fighters, especially women boxers and fighters, they don't know how to fight tall people. uh the average women fighter will just run right in, she doesn't know how to use footwork, she doesn't know how to use feints, she doesn't know how to shuck and jive to get past that length or that distance. That's what I'm waiting for. That's GWAT shit, right? GWOAT, greatest woman of all time, right? It ain't about punching power. Yeah, that's there, but skills pay the bills. And ain't no women out here got no skills that's paying. And that's why we don't get paid. And that's why we didn't get paid. Sugar got paid. Sugar could have got paid more if some of these punks out here fought her. But a lot of the punks were scared because they didn't have the skills to risk fighting someone like Sugar. Same thing here, right? Savannah Marshall, highly accomplished boxer, but she ain't using them skills like she should to pay the bills. So she's long, yes. She ain't doing nothing with the length, okay? She's strong, okay? So for her size and her weight, she's strong because she can handle these big girls. She's moving them around and she's getting physical with them. Um, Michael comes in. That's why they call you Miss Too Bad Brown. That's one of the reasons they call me Too Bad, and eventually Miss Too Bad. Right? I always say this. I was blessed to be taught by gladiators, right? They weren't mailmen, right? They weren't anything besides gladiators. So they taught me to think like a gladiator. They taught me to be comfortable in making my fangs drop and becoming that beast, that scary thing that takes my opponent to a place beyond just a fight. And I love that. That's why I was able to stop many of my opponents. And that's why I was able to, even in loss, give my opposition and the crowd an entertaining encounter. And I'm grateful for that. I wish I was able to get a belt, or I wish I was able to, get to that place, but no one wanted to risk the nightmare. And I guess they were smart for that. So going back into some strong points for oh goodness, we're going into the timing, into some strong points of Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall is also Miss Scott. Damn, Sugar, you are a beast. Check me out. All right, I got to talk about it. I did it. It was something that I did, and You know, I I like to say this. I like to say this to you all. Sugar Sugar, Miss Too Bad, me. I didn't get into fighting for a belt or to be a celebrity or a superstar. I got into fighting because it was a language that I spoke and understood, right? And fighting is a language all in itself. And I was able to learn it. And I, the the way I was able to learn it impressed a lot of people, impressed the gladiators that taught me, impressed my fans, and that was my motivation, just to let that beast go free and show and express herself um, in the entertainment of combat. Okay, so yes, Savannah Marshall, long, strong. Okay. She has weight on her punches because of the leverage. She's smart. She has an assertive approach, but not an aggressive approach. So she's assertive in her fights, meaning that she's going to press you. She's going to press you. She's going to press you in that, I guess that's Queensberry way. She's gonna press you with that, but she's not aggressive, right? She's not in your, she's not aggressively doing it like go down, you're going down. Yeah, oh, that hurt you, didn't it? She's not, she's more assertive. Don't you want to stop? Aren't you tired? Right? Um, which has its place in a fight. But there's a point in the fight where you got to turn that aggression on just a little bit. Sometimes you got to let the person know that you whooping their ass. You got to let the person know that you're hurting them and you know you're hurting them. And you'll do it and keep doing it until they decide to stop or until the fight stops. Okay? That's aggression. Assertiveness is showing I'm the better one. I'm better. I'm better. Don't you see that I'm better? That's being assertive. So I was assertive when I fought Fujin Raika in Japan. I should have, that was my first taste, right? Your losses are your biggest lessons. That was my first taste of loss as a professional. And I lost that fight because I wasn't aggressive. I was assertive. I should have ended Fujin, right? I could have, but I didn't. I thought I could just outbox her and win. I was in Japan. I was in her backyard. Even though the whole Korakuen Hall was cheering, Natari, for Sugar, for Natalie, for Miss Too Bad. The judges was like, we can't give it to you. So that was my first blemish. Okay. Now, uh, we looked at Savannah Marshall, lovely assistant. Can you put up the next clip though? Can you put up the next clip, baby? Ah, there it is. Clarissa Shields. So let's search this fighter. Clarissa Shields fought Femke as well. Miss Scott, look who out here doing homework. Miss Scott coming in from YouTube. She uses that jab effectively. Talk that talk. Talk that talk. Yes, she does. And you can see that right here in this image right here that's up. This is Clarissa Shields versus Franchon Cruz. Okay, and Franchon, we talked about it last week. You see that cross check right there? Franchon's using, that's a skill. I like, Franchon, she got some she got some stuff. She got some stuff there, right? I would like to see more of her fighting, but I think they might have shelved her. I just think they might have shelved. Yeah. Anyway, So you see Clarissa here. Actually, that's not a jab. That's a nice cross, right cross that she's turning over. And Franchon is taking the edge off of it right there. I like this shot right here. Two skills. I like it. So we're going to visit this, right? So we said Clarissa Shields is 12-0. Okay. And all 12 fights, wins, have been against elite opposition, high level opposition. Only two of those wins have been by KO, and I ain't going to search it. I'm not going to search it. Okay, she's probably one of the weaker of the elite competition, because we still have to, sometimes we still have to uh, do the checks and balances of how some of these elites got there. So, someone came in. Sliva Zabados is one of her stoppages. Clarissa stopped her, and then Nikki Adler was another stoppage of Clarissa Shields. Okay. Sylvia Zabados, that kind of sounds familiar. I'm not sure. She might have been a body bag. We'll see. Y'all do some research there too. And then Nikki Adler. I think Nikki Adler might have been. She's a crone, and she was up there. I think Nikki Adler was up there in age. Um, uh, she was 15 wins and 8 losses. So she was a crone that had been around, and she was a journeywoman. So I'm not going to take nothing from Adler. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting some numbers, okay? So it looks like Adler was 16-0, okay? And then Sylvia Zabados was 15 wins and 8 losses. Okay, so Zabados was a journeywoman. I guess I won't take nothing away from that. 15 wins, 8 losses. I'm not sure. You'd have to search that record to see if it was padded, or to see how she got to where she did, and got the opportunity to fight Clarissa Shields. Adler was 16-0. So some, she was uh Nikki had made herself a good enough resume, her matchmakers and management, for her to be a good contender on paper, and she got stopped by Clarissa Shields. Okay. Tony's reviews. He says, he's coming in from YouTube. I just can't see a way to success for Shields when fighting Marshall. The amateurs is better suited for the boxers versus a puncher, and being that Marshall beat Shields with bigger gloves and headgear. Who told you amateurs was bigger gloves and headgear? Okay, 10-ounce gloves as opposed to 8-ounce gloves. If they do, I think at 165, you're still fighting with 10-ounce gloves, even in the pro. I fought with 8-ounce gloves. Some places, because you're a woman, they wouldn't allow us to fight with 8-ounce gloves, because the smaller the gloves, the more damage you can do. Tony's reviews, he comes back again, will be a very hard fight for Shields to overcome. Well, let's search it, baby. And thanks for coming in, Tony. Yes, I like the talk that you're talking. And you may have a point, but let's unpack Clarissa Shields. Okay? Now, we want to make it come out the gate and say this. Clarissa Shields is not a power puncher. Okay? Ain't no power there. Okay? I'm not sure who her trainer is. She doesn't have like a high-end trainer. She got somebody who's seasoned. He got the slick perm in there too. So you know what I'm saying? He got his own little thing, his own little look going on, right? But a lot of as a fighter and as someone who loves my sport, there do I there is the entertainment is in every part of it. You just got to see it. So when they show the fighter sitting in the corner, right? Because I know how that feels. I go back to the corner and I'll say to coach, coach, I can't get in. Or coach, she ducking under my left, right? Or the coach would say, you dropping that hand, she's coming over. She's coming over with that hook. Really? I didn't see it, right? So that dialogue between you and the coach, that's entertainment, right? I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's happening in your corner. I want, right? Just like out in the parking lot, somebody said, oh, you got, man, you got to keep your hands up or something like that. That's what your corner is for, right? And we want to hear what the corner is telling the fighter. Corner's not just there to give you water and to wipe the sweat and boogers off your face. No, right? The corner is just as much involved in the fight as you are as a fighter, right? And as now the person that is looking at all of this, the fans that are watching, you want to take note of what the corner is saying to the fighter in the ring, right? Because that what they say can make or break the fight as well. Okay. And that corner now, the advice and the commands show you what the strategy is, if the fighter is executing or if the fighter is truly in trouble, right? And then from that, you will now look into how they operate. Oh, so we got Gerald Tucker with the perm. Thanks, Mike, for coming in. Gerald Tucker is training Shields. Okay. Now, I'm looking at the dialogue between, I'm looking at the corner, right? So I look at Savannah Marshall's corner. Okay. Her corners, her corner's active. Savannah's not active in her corner, meaning she goes back to her corner and she sits and she takes, she takes the command. She takes direction. She nods. She shakes her head. She gets water or whatever. She's not dialoguing with the coach, right? So she's not very active. Shields now, when she goes to the corner, she dialogues with her corner, right? She says, I feel like, I feel like I'm waiting on her. I feel like this. I feel like, listen to Shields, right? Because she's very vocal in the corner, and I like it. I like it because it's showing that she's very much into the fight. Michael Orr comes in. Shields coach John David Jackson. John David Jackson, that's familiar. John David Jackson, that's her MMA coach, ain't it? Right? Michael, look into that, because John David Jackson, I don't think he's the one with the perm. But I digress. I'm going to let you find that out and come back to me with it. Okay? Now, Clarissa Shields is an explosive fighter. She's a fighter, not a boxer, not a banger, not a brawler. Clarissa Shields is a fighter. She fights. Check up on my previous Styles Make Fights session or episode, okay? And you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so she's explosive, and the explosiveness comes from the fact that she punches in bunches. She throws quick combinations of 4 or more punches. I love that. Okay? Sugar punch like that, right? Punches in bunches, like my coach Johnny Gant used to say. Okay? Put your hands on her, like Coach Coffee would say. Okay? Um, she doesn't, she throws, she'll throw the one shot, she'll throw the jab, she'll throw the cross, but then she'll follow up with a barrage of punches. And it's not the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like, I'm sorry to say this, like boring Amanda Serrano comes with. She coming with boom, boom. She coming with jab, right, hook, uppercut. She coming with stuff, unorthodox stuff, which is interesting because then you see how that fighter in front of her either defends it or absorbs it. Tony's reviews, you comes in. Has Shields ever been smaller than anyone that she has ever fought? She has 1 belt in 3 weight classes. However, she did it by going down in weight. Savannah is going to be the first fighter. You got to do some homework, Tony. She fought Christina Hammer. Okay. She fought Hannah Gabriels. She fought some bigger girls. Hannah Gabriels is now heavyweight champion and was naturally a bigger girl than Clarissa Shields. Um, Christina Hammer was the reigning heavyweight champion out of Germany, and Hammer is, I think, 5'11". She's up there. She's big like Layla Ali. That's why Clarissa Shields says she would dust Layla, right? Because she's already been in there with a big girl, big slow girl. Okay, because Layla wasn't really that fast, but Layla was strong, and Layla had some weight behind her shots. Michael Orr coming in from YouTube. John David Jackson is a former pro boxer who competed from 84 to 99. Also held the junior mill. Okay, so he was a former fighter. Was he the one with the perm though? He was 36-4 with 20 KOs. Very impressive, right? But I need him to do more with Shields in the corner. How about that? How about that? Because I looked and I don't see him giving her the direction that she needs in being more effective in her fights, which we're going to get to. Tony's reviews comes in from YouTube. Both of those girls were smaller than Shields when Shields fought them. Shields came down in weight to fight Gabrielle. Baby, Tony, Gabrielle is a natural super weight. We're not talking about coming down in a weight just for a fight. Walking around, we are different sizes and weights. Okay? Hannah Gabrielle is a big girl. She's a big, thick girl. She's stockier and bigger in size than Clarissa Shields. Yeah, she ate the cabbage. She ate the cabbage, carrots, and crackers with dry tuna fish to suck down in weight, right? But she came down in weight to fight Shields, just like Shields came down in weight to fight her, right? And like I said, Christina Hammer is a big girl. She's a tall heavyweight. These girls are not smaller than Clarissa Shields, right? They got a cut just like Clarissa Shields cut, right? We not trying to paint it to where Clarissa is like this big girl coming down. Actually, Clarissa Shields is small for her weight class. Clarissa Shields should be fighting at 147. She should. She can cut down to that. If she was a guy, she'd have to cut down to 147. Right? Shields can fight those weights because Shields has a high IQ as a fighter, and these big girls, number one, they're not in condition to deal with the IQ of Clarissa Shields, because in order to outthink somebody and you're not smarter than them, you have to outwork them. And they're not conditioned to outwork Shields. Okay? That's just it. Now we're gonna go back. Clarissa Shields is an effective counterpuncher, right? That's what she does. She's good at counterpunching because of her IQ. Okay. But this is where she needs work. This is where she's not so effective. So Clarissa Shields waits on her opposition, right? You're supposed to get in there and initiate the battles, initiate the fights. Clarissa Shields, she'll bully at first and show you that she's faster than you, and she'll make you miss and make you pay. And if you're not a fighter who is with the shits and will fight her, you make the silent agreement to hang back and let her beat you up and let her outthink you until the end of the fight, because she ain't gonna stop you. Okay. Because these girls are big enough to absorb the shots. Okay. So she's not good at, she does not control the pace. Her punches don't carry weight. Okay. So she ain't hurt. She's really not hurting these girls. She's effective because she has a wealth of skill. And until you meet somebody with the same type of IQ or similar IQ and good conditioning as Clarissa Shields, you're not going to find somebody that's going to beat her. That person would have to be in tremendous shape, because if you can't outthink somebody, you have to outwork them inside and outside the ring. Okay, that's what it is. Now, Clarissa, to beat Femke, Clarissa Shields used timing and rhythm. Okay, because Femke is a brawler. We've established that, right? So, as I've said in the previous Styles Make Fights episode, right? She did exactly what I said to do to throw off the brawler. Okay. You got to break the rhythm. You got to give them, you got to break the rhythm with timing, fakes, speed, things like that. So they don't or cannot generate momentum to give it back to you. Right. Which is what she did against Femke. Okay. She made Femke miss. Right? So the brawler was throwing, but the brawler missed. So the momentum spin just like a tornado now, right? The momentum she threw, and then the momentum went down because she didn't catch. Clarissa didn't even block the shots, right? Because if you block something, that if you block momentum, then it bounces back. That energy bounces back, right? She's making Femke miss. So that momentum dissipates. Okay? Now, I give Femke this. She's a brawler, and her strong point, one of her strong points, notable, is her mental toughness. She'll stand in front of you and take a beating. And that's a talent. Okay? She'll stand in front of you and absorb everything you got. She won't move, and she'll keep coming, right? In front of the right fighter, that'll wear a mofo down. You'll get tired beating her up. She's like a female Rocky. If anybody has ever watched Rocky, Rocky faced all these great opponents, and what they do, Rocky took everything they got, swung back, took everything they got, and when they got tired of beating Rocky ass, Rocky turned it up and started throwing back and messed around and won all of those fights. Okay, so Femke is like a female Rocky, okay, if you let her. But In these two cases, Femke got beat up. Okay, she got beat up. And she said this notably versus Clarissa Shields. She says Clarissa is fast, but she doesn't hurt. Okay? So if fighters say that about you, Clarissa, you got to think about another approach. Okay? So she just exposed you. She just gave the answer about you. Okay? You fast, but you ain't really busting a grape. Okay? Now, Clarissa Shields versus Femke Hermans was boring. Yeah, I said it. As with a lot of Clarissa Shields' fights, Clarissa Shields is a champion in her own right, and she's an excellent fighter, but she's boring to watch because she does not have generalship. She doesn't control the fight. She just goes in there and she throws punches and she runs her hands, right? And then after a while, when you see her do her shimmy, the same shimmy ain't cute in round 8 like it was in round 2. You get bored, right? You want to see more stuff. You want to see her get physical. You want to see other things, which is why I said this guy John David Jackson, he may have been a great fighter, but he ain't telling her how to pay the bills. He ain't telling her how to use the skills to pay the bills. Okay, she's winning, but boxing and fighting, this is entertainment, right? People gotta want to see you whoop somebody's ass. Now, from what I see, all people want to do is see Clarissa Shields get beat. Okay, they just want to see her get beat, and I think she did. I think she's worked hard, and she knows too much. She knows too much. She's too talented for people to just want her to get beat, right? People got to want to see what she can do. I'm one of those that's left that I just want to see what more Clarissa Shields got. Show me that, put more tricks in your bag, baby girl, right? Tony's reviews came in and says he just doesn't see how Shields is going to beat Marshall. And I will say this, okay? Marshall still has a lot to prove. Okay? Don't drink the Kool-Aid and think it's champagne now, right? Savannah Marshall's opponents have been on some Kool-Aid. It's been Kool-Aid, okay? She has not been fighting high-end opposition, and she hasn't been doing much against these high-end oppositions besides beating them and stopping them, which is what she's supposed to do, because that's what her manager and matchmaker is paid to do. Find these people who she can be bad against and who she can stop, right? If Savannah Marshall went behind and fought Hammer, went behind and fought Franchon Cruz, went behind and fought Hannah Gabriels and stopped them, then we would be cooking with Crisco. Yes, right? Then I would say, okay, I don't see how Shields could do it. But her opposition, the quality of her opposition is nothing like Shields, nothing close to Shields, and nothing like the opposition Shields has faced. And we have to call a thing, okay? The truth is right there in front of you, okay? So this is what I think about this fight, okay? I'm gonna say what I'm just gonna wrap up with Shields and why the fight was boring against Femke. So Shields' Femke's fight was boring because Shields kept waiting on Femke, right? Because she does not initiate anything. Shields does not initiate any battles, any fight, any battles in the ring. Okay, she doesn't initiate. She didn't set anything up. Here you go, Tony. Tony's reviews. You come in. I cannot disagree with the fact that Shields has fought better opposition. However, the two opponents they share, Savannah beat them both way easier, sparked them both. I respect your mind. I just don't. Okay, Tony. And thank you. No, this is a conversation, right? This ain't hate between me or you. You come here on a Wednesday night at 7:30 talking to me. I appreciate you for this. Now, I want to say this, okay? The two opponents that they do have in common, yes. But I'm also going to say this point, bring this point up. Clarissa Shields fought both opponents first. Yeah. So, as a fighter, right? The fight is the test. If Clarissa Shields, exposed or showed the answer to the test in in um in many ways. When she fought Hannah Rankin, the answer was right there. If Clarissa had picked it up on Rankin, if Clarissa had done a lot of things against Rankin, Clarissa would have done a lot better. It would have been a more exciting fight, and she would have indeed stopped Rankin. So, okay, Clarissa took the test and gave the answers in front of the whole world. So when Savannah Marshall comes back and fights Hannah Rankin's the same fighter she was when she fought Clarissa Shields. So all Savannah Marshall needed to do was apply a strategy. I don't, she didn't figure anything out. The answers were already there. Clarissa provided the answers. Same thing with Femke, right? Like I said, Savannah Marshall will impress me, or Savannah Marshall will, I could see her winning if she fought, even if she had fought Tori Nelson, if she fought Hannah Rankin. Not Hannah, Hannah Gabriels. If she fought Hammer, if she fought Franchon Cruz, even if she fought Nikki Adler, like fight somebody, fight one of these women that were a higher caliber opposition. Femke and not to diss Femke Hermans or diss Hannah Rankin, but they were on the very lower end of opposition that Clarissa Shields had fought. And the reason why they were somebody for Savannah Marshall that's notable on Savannah Marshall's resume is because they fought Clarissa Shields. No other reason, right? Those two girls were names because they fought Clarissa Shields. That's it. Okay? And that's why. So, okay, Michael Orr comes in. It was boring for sure. Definitely a hard sparring session. I wouldn't even call it a sparring session, right? Because I've seen some spirited sparring. I've seen some sparring sessions that could be fights. Okay? It just wasn't worth the money or the time. Michael Orr comes in again. Savannah Marshall is a much more educated fighter now than when she fought in the amateurs. She has evolved her game tremendously. Tell me how, Mike. Tell me how. How has she evolved? I've seen Savannah Marshall fight as an amateur. She doing the same stuff as a pro. She can't fight on the inside. Where's the evolution? She was not fighting on the inside as an amateur. As a matter of fact, that's why she was such a great amateur, because right, but using the long game. That's what amateurs is, baby, the long game. Right? Amateurs is point fighting. So you win. How you win an amateur fight is the cleaner, more apparent shots. That's the long game. She was always good at the long game. That's why she beat Clarissa in the amateurs, right? But she still ain't fighting on the inside. She's still not an inside fighter. I still don't see her versatility in fighting moving forward or moving backwards. I still don't see any versatility in her defensive movements. I still don't see any evolution in her footwork. Besides, she switches stance. What's that? What did she do off of the switch? She ain't throwing no hook off the switch. She ain't catching nobody off the switch. She's just using that as a hat trick, right? So let's call a thing a thing. Let's call a thing a thing, okay? Savannah Marshall, as much as they're hyping her up and as much potential as she has, don't let, like I said, don't be drinking, don't think the Kool-Aid that they serving you is champagne, okay? Savannah Marshall still has to prove herself as a fighter. She has not proven herself in the same capacity as Clarissa Shields has. She has not. Her resume is filled with padding and journey women. Clarissa Shields' resume is not. And we have to respect that. Michael Orr comes in. Do you think it will go to the judges? Of course it will go to the judges. Ain't none of them busting a grape. You think Savannah Marshall can hurt Shields? No. Savannah Marshall ain't going to catch Shields with none of those shots that she caught those low-end opposition with. She's not. Shields got a chin, but Shields got dropped by Hannah Gabriels. And I'm telling you this, Hannah Gabriels is a big girl. Michael Orr said that. Shields got a chin. Hannah Gabriels is a big girl. So when she dropped Clarissa Shields, just know that Hannah Gabriels is like a 100. Hannah Gabriels is a light heavyweight, right? She's a 178-pound girl solid. So when she went down to fight Clarissa, she wasn't even at her best. She wasn't strong fighting Clarissa, right? Gabrielle got fire in those hands. Gabrielle ain't got fire in her hands, but she got some weight. She got stones in them hands. She got some weight on her punches, because I seen another girl take Hannah Gabrielle to the cleaners in Costa Rica in her own backyard. But because she was in and her name was Melissa too. I forgot her last name, but because she fought Hannah Gabrielle's in Gabrielle's backyard, she did not win the fight, but she took Hannah Gabrielle's to the cleaners. You heard? Okay, watch these fights out here. Okay, so going into the notable points of Clarissa Shields as a fighter. She is strong, right? I don't know if she should be losing all this weight, because like I said, and I always say this, okay, if I'm the champ, I'm not losing weight for nobody. You got to come up to meet me. Clarissa Shields is going down. When you go down, you lose your solidness in your body. You're losing that. And that solidness adds to you as a fighter. Everything counts. Tony's reviews, you coming in off of YouTube. Savannah looks over the head, over the average height man. Gabrielle would be short, man. LOL. I doubt she carries more weight than Savannah outside of competition. I'm going to tell you this again. All right. Let's talk boxing. Let's talk fights. How tall was Mike Tyson? Was Mike Tyson as tall as the average heavyweight? No, but he was knocking him out, wasn't he? Okay, so Savannah is tall and slim. Okay, so the weight is distributed differently, right? Savannah Marshall is 5'10". I think Clarissa Shields is like 5'8". Christina Hammer was something like 5'11", up there too. And she's bigger. Christina Hammer is bigger than Savannah Marshall. Take note of that. Okay. I fought tall, lanky girls like Savannah Marshall too, right? That Savannah, those girls used to go down into my weight class. I fought 147 in the amateurs, right? Right. If you don't allow them to get leverage, if you get outside, if you're not at the end of their punches, there's nothing else to them. Right? And I'm just saying that. And I like both fighters, but Savannah, okay, so Savannah is at least 5'11" and a half. You come in Tony's review saying, I saw her in person and we were almost eye to eye. Great. Okay, good. So Savannah Marshall is around the same height as Christina Hammer. I'm going to tell you this, okay? Tony's reviews. Unless Savannah Marshall learns how to fight on the inside, how to fight moving backwards, how to fight on different angles. She's still behind the skill set of Clarissa Shields. Because remember, both are accomplished amateurs. Clarissa Shields is the one that got the gold medal twice. That means Clarissa Shields has gone through the filter, right? Has gone through the filter of all shapes and all sizes of women in front of her. She's seen all the looks, right? Savannah Marshall didn't even make it to the Olympics. Okay? Now let's talk about somebody out there that might give Clarissa a problem. If they come back, if they got their courage back from the first encounter. Mary Spencer out of Canada. Mary Spencer got the tools. Mary Spencer is somebody that you guys should be looking at as the next mega or big fight against Clarissa Shields. Okay? That girl has the IQ. That girl got the power. She got leverage and she's got power. And she knows how to use it. And she's smart. And she's fast. Right? Mary Spencer had got it all. Mary Spencer is about 6 foot tall too. Right? But what happened in the amateurs is Clarissa Shields took Mary Spencer's heart, right? Because Mary Spencer was so busy being, the princess queen, right? That when scrappy Clarissa came out of Detroit with the dirty water and stepped in her chest and said, listen, this is my way out of that, and I'm taking it. It scared the hell out of Mary Spencer. Okay? So, going into the, how to beat Clarissa Shields, okay? So, in beating Clarissa Shields, her IQ must be tested. Okay, so Clarissa Shields, you have to test how smart she is, because what's happened is she's gotten lazy and complacent as a professional. Okay, now she's waiting for you to make a mistake so she can make you pay, right? She's not even trying anymore against you girls out here. Okay, you have to test her IQ. You got to make her go into her bag of tricks. You got to press her. Okay, and you got to press her on all levels. You have to press her conditioning. Clarissa Shields is not very conditioned. She's not. I would take it. I would use that first as the approach. You girls out here, y'all got to get in some shape, okay? Femke in there jiggling like a bowl of jello. What the hell is that? You're supposed to be in shape. You standing in front of a fighter. We're paying money to sit in our seats and watch you, and you jiggling. No, you're supposed to be solid. Even Tyson Fury is a fat boy, but when he went in there against Wilder and against this high opposition, you seen him come down. He still had the cute little belly, but he came down. He was in shape. He was conditioned, right? So Femke there jingling, and so is all these other girls. Y'all ain't in no shape, right? The conditioning needs to be pressed. Okay? Let's see. You got to press her IQ with strategy, right? Because Clarissa Shields doesn't use strategy. And what's his name? What's homeboy's name? Jackson, her trainer, John David Jackson. That man ain't making no strategy. Look at what he's saying to her in the corner, in the fights. Oh, you're doing good. All you gotta do is that. Then you're doing good. That's no strategy in that. I'm not hearing. Okay, cut her off. Take her here. You know what to do. Then take her here, and then break. He's not doing that. There's no map or no plan, right? It's just go in there and you're doing good. Do what you're doing. That's the most vulnerable place that is where Clarissa's vulnerabilities are right now, is her conditioning and her corner. Okay? You want to beat Clarissa Shields? Get a good corner. Get a trainer. And they don't have to be a name brand trainer. The trainer that's studied and knows how to fight. Like my trainer, Sergey Litok from Ukraine. Shout outs to Ukraine, my people over there. They accepted me, they loved me, and thank you, Coach Sergey. Those people study, right? They go to university for boxing. Yeah, my coach had a master's degree in pugilism. Okay, Coach Sergey, best trainer in Canada. Best trainer in Canada. Yeah, I said it. Go find him. Knock on his door. You want to start winning? Find Coach Sergey. Okay. So attack her IQ, attack her corner, attack her conditioning. Okay. Savannah doesn't have those faculties as yet. Savannah has a good corner. Yes. Savannah needs to pick up her conditioning. If Savannah picks up her conditioning and with her corner, she does have a chance of beating the beast, Clarissa Shields. Okay. Clarissa's good points. Okay. You must also control the pace against Clarissa Shields. You must also control the range with Clarissa Shields. Okay. And her timing. Clarissa Shields is a fighter, so she uses timing a lot. Jam up her timing, and you got her. Okay. She's strong. She's fast. She punches in volumes. Okay. But there's nothing behind the punches. So if you have a strong, solid guard, right? Because Marshall ain't gonna get good footwork overnight, but she can get a solid guard. Okay, that'll help. Clarissa is smart. Okay, she's not tricky. She's smart. A tricky fighter may have an edge with Shields. Okay, and we'll go into what the trickiness means in another episode. Shields is an aggressive fighter. She's not assertive. Okay. So the that she does, I hate when fighters do that, right? hate when they do that. There's a couple other fighters that do that. Ah! Shut the hell up, okay? Stop. Um, and I used to love when they and I punch them right in their throat. That's what Sugar used to do, right? Save the sound effects, okay? Let's get to it. She's aggressive, but she's not assertive. So she does everything with aggression. I'm beating you. I just hit you with that. I just hit you. All 10 rounds. I'm beating your ass all 10 rounds. That's aggressiveness, not assertiveness. Don't you see how skillful I am? Don't you see? Don't you see that I'm better? No, Clarissa ain't playing that game. Okay. Now, bringing this long episode to a conclusion, and I like everybody that chimed in. Thanks for your comments and support, Tony. And I thank you too, Tony, for your comments and your support. And Miss Scott and Michael for coming in. Thank you guys for talking about this. This ended up being a long conversation, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out. Sugar's predictions on the fight, it will be a decision. The decision will be based on if the fight is in Marshall's backyard or not. Clarissa made a point of saying that she wanted the fight to not to be in Marshall's backyard, which I agree. It should not be in anybody's backyard, right? She says she doesn't mind fighting Marshall in her backyard because she's confident she will beat her. But Sugar, I'm a fighter and I know about shenanigans. And as great as Clarissa Shields thinks she ain't greater than the system. And the system is full of shenanigans. And Clarissa Shields can very well lose her belt off of just being in the wrong place, fighting someone. So I see where there's opportunity for Marshall to win this fight. I also see where there's where Shields will win this fight too. Michael Orr comes in. Let's do Dubai neutral ground. Dubai is neutral ground, actually. That would be a good place. But, you know, we want people to come out. I like the English fans coming out. The British people and British people are diehard boxing fans. And now they have people in the pot. They never used to have anybody at first. They had nobody. So now that they have women that they have fighters that they can cheer out, they're coming out for those fighters, and I like it. I would like for Marshall to come over here and fight Clarissa. Why not? Right? But no one's really coming out to boxing fights, especially for Clarissa's fights here in the USA. So, I mean, she ain't paying. She's not getting paid like she would fighting over there in Europe, in Britain. So that's why these fights are happening over there. Um, uh, I'm leaning, to be honest, I'm still leaning on Clarissa. I'm leaning that Clarissa, it will not be an easy fight by any stretch, okay, for both of these women. But I think Clarissa still has the tools to pull off the win. But you know, we got to start talking about, okay, after Marshall, then what? Then everything goes dead? No, like there has to be contenders out here. Like we need more contenders to step up and help and make Clarissa and Marshall and all of these other women in the weight class extend themselves. Michael Orr says, to quote my good friend from Last Bell Boxing, Carl, UK. His friend from Last Bell Boxing, Carl, in the UK. He says UK is the Mecca of boxing. Yes, UK is the Mecca of boxing right now. Goodness, sorry about that. I tell you, it's a spirited. I live in the city, you guys, so y'all are gonna hear city stuff. Okay. Um, uh, they have done an excellent job of building boxing in Britain, in the UK right now, and it's from years of investment, years of building prospects, right? Anthony Joshua, Nicola Adams, all of they put their money. They had the Olympics there, and their fighters showed out, so they deserve it right now. And you know what? It's just a cycle and a circle of life, right? Maybe it'll come back to the US. Maybe it'll go to China. Maybe it'll go, somewhere else, depending on where the pot is bubbling. But I must conclude tonight's chat. Thank you guys for showing up, and keep showing up every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. with Sugar. Come on, let's talk fights. Let's talk boxing. We on Talking Fight right now. Like, subscribe, share, okay? And I look forward to seeing you guys next week with the next discussion. And I'll let y'all. I'll let my boys here with Talking Fight drop what the next title or subtopic of discussion will be for next Wednesday. But until then, take care. See you next time.